best scientific minds we have today.
Margaret Colbert, Speedo Refinish Network. All right, guys, so today is the day we are going to be doing a very, very quick, mild restoration on my 6500 tow truck. Those of you guys that know me, you guys have been following my Facebook and everything else, y'all know I love me them 6500 Chevrolets, all right? I know I'm a Honda guy at heart, daily drive them Hondas, you know, and all that stuff, but when it comes to a heavy-duty truck, you know, I like me a Chevy, okay? This one, however, a little bit older, you know. She's got a couple small leaks, you know, and everything like that, but everything is fully operational, fully functional, starts, runs, drives. Wheel lift in the back works. It's a good truck, however, it doesn't match. We got all white. We're gonna get this one all white. A little bit of rust, a little bit of pokey. We're going to grind all this down. Luckily, it's just the boxes. It's nothing structural. All the cab and everything like that. Not a single pinch of rust. We're going to have to obviously cut and fabricate a little bit of fresh metal in some of these spots that are really, really bad. Other than that, if it's structurally sound, hit it with some TRC 15. Smooth it out with a little bit of body fill over top of that. Never done that before. We're going to go ahead and, you know, test that out. Get it smooth, you know, to the touch. Get everything sanded and smooth. And then hit everything with, you know, 2 or 3 coats of Speedo Coat single stage. And we're going to see what we can do with this old truck. All right, guys, so we jumped in head first on this one. We went straight to the grinder with all these, like, little bubbling spots. I got these, like, cheap little universal diamond blade grinding discs off of Amazon. These things will blast away rust. I mean, you can see it is just throwing it. So we had to grind all this down. It looks like this truck actually had a previous paint job. Looks like a long time ago. There was a bunch of body fill in there. We're at Surplus City. Those of you guys on the East Coast know what this place is. You could honestly probably build a tank in here with all the supplies in here that they have if you wanted to. We grabbed some little pieces of scrap metal, some like little steel plates. We're welding in a L, basically a L bracket right below the box where it's supposed to be. That kind of lines up with the other boxes. Then we welded to the face. We cut that out. We welded some metal in the face of the box. We're just kind of tack welding that in. Not going crazy, just a couple tack welds here and there just to hold it in. And then we're, you know, obviously going to go back in later and, you know, seal it up with some fillers and whatnot. But look at the fabrication. We literally just popped that in there and it's stuck in there perfectly. So shout out to Ben. He is a super awesome fabricator. He knows exactly what in the heck he is doing. The inside of the box, we didn't get it perfect as the outside, but as you guys can see, we put those steel strips on the bottom just to add some structural integrity. Now at this point, all the metal's welded in. We're just going ahead and cleaning up the welds and grinding them flat. Not grinding them a crazy amount, but just enough to make them flat. We had a couple minor holes to fill with weld because we decided to take off those like kind of old school like little railings on the side of the box. Everything's grinded down. Everything's pretty much good to go. I hit it with some acid, some uric acid to try and, you know, treat the rust or whatever. Now we're going to hit it with the Speedo Coat TRC 15. Now what this product is going to do is actually going to, it's a moisture cure product. So what it's going to do is once it dries, being it needs moisture to cure, it's actually going to suck all of the moisture out of that metal where the rust is. And it's going to form a ridiculously hard, rock hard, encapsulated layer of material between the rust and then what we're going to put on top of it, which is going to be body filler and paint. Now, this is actually an experiment. I've actually never done this before, but the theory is we put this down, it locks in the rust, there's no bleed through, no future rust. Basically, this stops the rust in its tracks, and then we put body filler over top of it for basically a semi-permanent repair, because I really only want to do this one time.
Now we got our TRC 15 all scuffed down, ready for some filler. We're going to be doing a pre-wipe with some vitamin water. Now what this is going to do is it's going to obviously, as you guys, hence the name vitamin water, it's going to add some nutrition to these repairs, and it's going to ensure, like I said, that this is a lifetime guaranteed repair. Now once you smooth out all your body filler, you're going to go ahead and, knock all that down, 180, 320. You're going to go ahead and wipe it down, and then we're going to go ahead and go over that with some type of a primer. Now, because, Ben was with me in the shop, he had one can on the other side, I had one can on the other side. We just decided to just go ahead and rattle can it. It was quick, easy, grab and go. It's a good filler primer for just kind of projects like this where you don't need a lot of build. And we could have 2 people priming at one time. And on top of that, I also had an excessive stock of Speedocoat white aerosol primer because I don't really use it very often. So I had like 20 cans laying around, so we just decided to rattle can it. Everything is sanded down, smoothed out, nice sheen, very, very smooth, and ready for some paint to be applied, all taped up, ready to go. We also went ahead and took a brief second. We redid these axle forks just to make them look nice. And we're ready to put some paint down on the truck.
He's one of the best scientific minds we have today.
Alright guys, so the biggest key takeaways I'm going to give you with a project this size, which very few professional painters out there would probably even tackle a project this size by themselves. Usually you see projects like this, there's usually 2 guns on the truck or 2 guns on it. Same thing with airplanes. You see people out there spraying airplanes, there's like 3 or 4 guns on that thing, just whacking the paint on. And you have to, because if you want to keep the whole surface wet at one time, you really got to have multiple guns. But I decided to be a lone wolf and try and tackle this myself. Biggest key takeaways, okay? Mix up enough paint, all right? Pre-mix up at least a gallon to a gallon and a half for a project this size. If you bought one Speedocoat kit, okay, so 1 gallon kit, 1 quart of activator, just go ahead and dump the activator right into the gallon we sell you. Mix it up with a stir stick, and you're ready to go. Start dumping that in your PPS cups. Number 2, get good with spraying with both hands, okay? I'm going to be honest with you. If you cannot spray with both hands, you're never going to be a professional painter, and you're never going to be able to take on projects this size because your right hand will get exhausted, I promise you. I don't care how good of cardiovascular shape you're in. I go to the gym every single day. And guess what? My right arm was definitely taxed after, even just the first coat of paint. I mean, it was a lot. A project this size, because there's most likely going to be dry spots or, spots that you didn't quite hit on the first and the second coat, I would highly recommend buying enough paint so that you can do a full 3 coats of paint on a project like this. Why? Well, if you're going to wet sand and buff ever in the future, you have to have a minimum of 3 coats of paint for any type of project, okay? Whether that's base clear, single stage, acrylic enamel, it doesn't matter. If you have only 2 coats of paint or 2 coats of clear on that project and you wet sand and buff, that paint job is not going to last, because basically at that point you have no millage, you have no build on the surface, and that sun's going to eat it right up. Probably my last piece of advice would be this: plan on doing 3 coats, okay? This takes a lot of stress away as a painter, because it's like, hey, you know, even if the first coat doesn't go down super perfect and the second coat doesn't go down super perfect, well, guess what? You still have that extra coat of reassurance where, hey, that last coat, you know, hey man, I'm going to gloss this thing out. I'm going to lay this on wet and glossy and thick and smooth. So it's like, it takes a lot of stress away, because it's like, you know, if you only got 2 coats, you only got 2 chances. But when you add in that 3rd coat, you're adding in an extra chance to really just gloss it out and make it nice.
There you guys have it, the project you all have been waiting for to complete, my 1998 C6500 record. I am extremely happy with how it came out. Compared to, you know, how it was in extremely rough condition. Not super rough, like rotting frame and needed like a frame off restoration, but guys, this thing was pretty plastered. It had chipping paint where there wasn't rust. Where there was rust, there was chipping paint and holes and just all kinds of mess. We spent probably just a day alone removing all the old stickers and vinyl and old company logos. That was a task in and of itself, getting every little last bit of that off before we, you know, sand it and even put paint on it, because we can't just paint over that because you would see it. Then my master fabricator literally he was cutting little slivers of metal. He'd come back up to the box, he'd pop it in, it'd be like putting pieces of a puzzle together. I mean, just perfect fabrication for this type of job, you know what I mean? Every single piece of metal was fit in really good. You know, it's not like we just took like chicken wire and like spliced it together and slapped Bondo over it. No, this was cut metal out, you know, did it good. And she's a little rough around the edges. There's still, you know, a couple spots that, you know, got a little bit of bleed through. And to be fair, you know, this has already been, believe it or not, this has been actually sitting for sat at the inspection station for like a month, give or take. Needed a bunch of just little stuff to get it DOT safety inspected and legal and all that stuff. It's still got a couple tiny rough, you know, rough edges on it. You know, if you look, you know, there's some stuff we just painted over it, you know what I mean? It just, you know, main thing is, guys, we were trying to just get it all one piece, one color, no rust holes. And for what I paid for this truck, I definitely think the juice is worth the squeeze. I think I have invested in it about half of the market value. You know, so the juice was definitely worth the squeeze on this one. Couple of modifications that we did do a brand new 4-inch downpipe back exhaust. We left the downpipe from the turbo to the under the cab stock. We didn't mess with that. That was good, no leaks. However, the original factory exhaust was just rusting and starting to give way. So Ben fabricated up a 4-inch to 5-inch exhaust with a little tip on the end. A Amazon ching chang Total Flow muffler. Sounds incredible. Definitely don't want to go completely straight pipe on these older Caterpillars. You will lose horsepower, especially if you're, if it's not modified or any of that, guys. Just, straight pipe is really not the way to go. You definitely want at least some type of a muffler on there to provide just a little bit of back pressure. We got ourselves a new Super Scoop on the 6500 tow truck. And those of you Chevy guys, y'all know, okay? This did not come on the pre-2000 tow trucks and wreckers. This is a, I believe, 2003, the next generation 55 and 6500 to 2009 scoop that they had on the side of the hood of the Chevy tow trucks and stuff. This is going to get us all the cold air, all the cold winter air we got coming up that we need into the engine. We are later gonna build like a little cold air intake for it and put the cone like right here, but couldn't get that done before I filmed the video, so we just figured we show you guys the truck like 99% complete. What an incredible transformation compared to what this truck was. Just like I said, so a couple things. We gotta finish up the intake. We gotta do something with that because that's red, so we'll probably just undercoat that black. This got a little bit of overspray on it, so we're probably gonna redo these like next year after we run it for a season. Overall, wow. From a truck that was just a rust bucket, nothing but rust and holes and faded paint and chipping paint and all this other stuff, and from that to this, super happy. Speedocoat products worked incredible. The Speedocoat single stage white, we got it with this one. We did the slow activator. There is no clear on this. This is just single stage, exactly how it was intended to be used. This is I believe 3 coats of single stage total, and I really pounded it on like really good. I think we got 3 coats on the cab, and I think we only ended up getting like 2 coats on the bed. It was something like that. Guys, I used like it was like 2.5 gallons of single stage on this truck. We dumped it on there. Each kit of the bright white high gloss single stage is 1 gallon and a quart. We used 2 full of those, so it's 2.5 gallons of paint, and we got plenty of paint. If we ever want to buff it or wet sand in the future, we got plenty of paint to do that. That's gonna wrap it up for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed this budget restoration on my tow truck. If you guys enjoyed the video, like and subscribe. If you guys are looking for the best, most user-friendly auto body and detail products in the world, there's one place you need to go: www.speedocoat.com. They have everything you guys need, start to finish, to get your projects done. Click my name, Sales Rep Marco. All the proceeds will go back into the YouTube channel so we can continue making awesome videos just like this. Catch you guys on the next one.